Alpida, if it is not a door, what is it?
I don't know.
Because it clearly says it's not a door.
Maybe they should have it marked not an entry or not for entry instead of not a door. Right?
Okay, just silly.
Is that the same as Matador?
Yes.
But first, coffee, right?
Yes. 1566?
And so the laws. So today we bought an expensive piece of wood. $20.77 with taxes, right? Mm-hmm. And we did that because we are building something that we like it to look a certain way. We didn't want pine, we didn't want an expensive wood construction lumber. We wanted something nicer. We're dreaming of spring, right? Mm-hmm. North Carolina has been not in the south this year.
No.
In fact, there were days that it was colder than where we came from in Kansas. Kansas was warmer for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Like they were in the 80s and we're in the 30s, which is just illegal, just to point it out, right?
100%.
So dreaming of the upcoming spring and the nature waking up and everything, today we decided to build two planters. They are very different skill level, different everything, but you can easily do them in an afternoon, especially if you're not recording.
Yes.
So stick around, you're still our favorite viewer, and this is going to be a fantastic episode. So what we bought is poplar, Phoenix poplar is a S4S that we didn't need, frankly, S4S, but they don't sell poplar in any other configuration that made sense for our project. So out of this piece, we hope to make one dilly-do planter.
Okay, we're going.
It was then we realized something was wrong. Unfortunately, this is the maximum depth that our saw can cut. Luckily, this is a bevel saw and we can bevel it. We're going to have some waste. We calculated 5.5 inches is the correct dimension.
Mm-hmm. And because this is a compound miter saw, we do have settings on both sides for a 22.5. You can see it on this side. We do have it set at 22.5, angled the opposite direction. There we go, 22.5. We've made our first clean cut to clean the first angle. So to get to that, because we want to make sure that all of our grain is following along, we're actually going to flip the board for this one.
Well, that's not the reason. It's because we need the angles to be in.
Yeah, but we also want to have the grain continuing. So this angle is going this way. The new angle is again going to be that opposing one. And we've got our block set at 5.5.
Something we did not do, but is a great idea, is to either number the pieces as you cut them, or somehow keep them in the correct order so you do not have to suffer later. I got an awesome view of your elbow.
Excellent.
So here is our first piece, and we need 8 of those. Mm-hmm. God help us, we're not going to subject you to 8 of those. We'll just show you when it's the same process. We're going to have to flip every time we do, we need to flip, because the important thing is that the angles have to be facing inside, right? Now this is something you shouldn't have to do, but we have to do because I was not keeping the pieces in order.
Can we extend that thing?
Does that make sense? So, because we try to keep that will not help us much with it. We try to keep it looking like the board did. We need to play a little bit of a puzzle game. Is that it?
No, I think that's good.
It is not critical unless you absolutely want to do that. And we think we got it. We're not 100% sure, but we think we got it, right?
Looks pretty good to me.
So now we're going to have Mrs. DIY's most hated action, and that is sanding. Because there is a little bit of hair that is left because of her cutting, right? Again, this is a planter, not critical that it is hairless, but if you want to do some sanding, this is the time to do it. Yeah, that's plenty. So what Mrs. DIY is doing now is just making sure we don't have any hair that will prevent us from having a good angle. Although we haven't tested it yet, but hopefully it's a good angle, right?
Right.
So we're going to go and do that for every piece. You can see there was a little bit of hair, and we want it clean. We're using a long clamp to ensure we're straight. We are setting our pieces, and then we're going to use painter tape to connect them to each other. Do you want to use one tape or two tapes? One tape or two tapes?
Two.
Make sure to leave a tail on one side so you can close the taping after you put glue. Again, as you go along, make sure you have a nice tight connection in all your joints. And the next tricky part is we have to turn it over, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Take your time here. A good taping job with all the edges flush will yield the most fantastic result you can imagine with very little effort. One, I think we know what we're doing. I guess you'll try to turn it over on the OSB, right?
Okay.
You want to do a dry fit or go up to the glue up?
We should do a dry fit.
Okay. We're not going to cut. You don't need to lock it though, just a dry fit. It will be tight. Looks good so far.
I don't want to stick it.
Right.
Okay.
And it is bigger than I thought, right?
It's the right size for what you plan to
Okay,
film.
excellent. So you put glue only in one of your sides, and then because this is kind of a tight angle, don't worry about it. Because it's kind of a tight angle, try to use a brush so you are not going to make it fall apart. Using too much glue is a rather common mistake that actually results in a worse joint that needs a lot of processing because of excessive squeeze, and it's even weaker than if you use just enough. Only put glue on one surface, not both of them, to get a much better, stronger and less messy glue job. And if you wanted, you can reinforce that with some brad nails. I don't think it's necessary. But if you're so inclined, again, don't overglue the surface, guys. A little glue goes a long way. And here goes nothing. You can clearly see here the utility of using painter's tape as a clamp and how nicely it keeps all the pieces together and allows for a very nice, tight and controlled glue up. Really would have been on the other side, but that's okay. You can bring it more. You can even turn it if you want to be the correct orientation. Yeah, that looks good. You turn it correctly oriented.
Well, I wanted her to finish that joint.
Okay, finish it, but it is more stable in this orientation. And it looks pretty good to me. What do you think, ladies?
Yep. Just want to make a tight connection so that everything glues up really nicely.
So you can use a single, if you want to tighten a connection, you can use a single piece of tape and make it tighter, you know? However, they look pretty good to me. What do you guys think?
It's looking pretty good. Do you want to reinforce any of them?
I don't think so. I think they look good. you're going to remove the tape when it dries, but to give you an idea how nice that looks as a planter, right?
Right.
And repeat and miss is DIY tighten joints that there might be a little not. All of the joints look to me look very good, but if you want to tighten anything a little bit, a single piece of tape.
Now's the time while the glue is still.
Right, after the glue dries, there isn't much time, any time. Since we are going to start using our scrap, the first step for us is to square pieces that are not square. No, I'm talking about this first.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go to our chop saw and do that. It is very important to square factory edges in order to achieve the best result possible and avoid any surprises down the road as you assemble your project.
Now they're square. Gonna get blasted.
Yep. First thing, we're taking some roundover off of our scrap board.
It is not plugged in, I don't think.
No, we need power.
Power.
Man!
Power.
I just think our tools are magical and they don't need to be plugged in.
You might be a redneck if you're using your garden hose as a lift for your very, very expensive and state-of-the-art vacuum system. Or
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called.
yeah, it's
De-dusting system.
the dedusting system because we don't have one on the shelf or anything. We
You
don't.
mean up there? No, who would?
Up there, we don't have anything like that.
And we haven't had it for 2 years either.
Right. Well, yeah.
We dream of spring. We're still in the reality of not spring
Not spring.
in North Carolina. And I got a couple of comments about using our big body here. And people said, why don't you put a split? A mini split.
Yeah.
Send me the $800 and I'll be very happy to do that. I mean,
Or send us a mini split if you have one.
yeah, send us a mini split. I understand that people think we have unlimited budget because we're on YouTube, but we do not, right? This is very inexpensive to operate. It does the job and we have it, right? A mini split will be $800 plus you have to install it. It doesn't come self-installed, right? And if you don't install it yourself, it's another few $100s for the person to install it. I would love a mini split again. Feel free to send me one.
We would love one too. So yes, please and thank you. Say what you want, but our redneck setup does actually do pretty good. We do have a little bit of debris, but I think that's from before we set it up, and this really keeps a lot of it out of the air for our breathing.
I 3D printed this push stick and it has become my favorite, right? In fact, I might print the purple for me, for Elpida. And what color would you like, Mrs. DIY?
Teal blue.
Teal blue. So we might have one for each. One for Elpida, one for me, one for Mrs. DIY. And I think we need to actually have an episode installing our dust collector.
The dust collector?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I think it's time to have healthy lungs.
Yeah.
I find it very satisfying to remove the absolute minimum amount of wood necessary because I do not like to waste wood. At the same time, you can see the variable thickness of 2x material. As you can see that without moving the board at all, we're cutting a little more now than we cut in the beginning and a little less in a moment ago. So the best way to do it is to experiment. That is about as close as you can get to blade width cut, right?
Yep.
That was pretty phenomenally awesome. And I also noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed it, that because these scraps have climatized, we did not have a lot of pressure in the wood. Only one board had a little bit of pressure, but
Yeah.
most of them were nice and easy to go through. So this piece is, can you lock the blade down, please?
Sure.
And I will tell you why. So we have that there and we don't have to hold it. We cut the first piece and that will be, it's around 9 inches for us. Not critical to be exact, but it is important from this point forward that every piece is correct, right? So we are going to create a stop block there.
I wanted you to give her the camera so you can. So real quick, you can see that we've got a hole here and it goes all the way through from the other side. We're putting a screw so that we can set our stop. And again, I'm butting this exactly up against our 9-inch piece. Okay. And now that is very secure. It's not going to go anywhere.
Here's
And for those that don't know,
for that.
all these holes are for that purpose on fences.
All of these little holes to help put stop blocks and others.
Right.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, so now we can take that piece out and we're ready to cut more. And we know exactly how long it's gonna be.
Good there.
Yep.
Rinse and repeat. Now we know that all the cuts we'll make will be identical, right?
Right.
Okay.
And that's what we care for.
Okay, so we have cut everything that we had already made into the correct shape and size. We've cut all the boards that we milled, and so now we've got to cut some more because to do the size of the planter that we're looking to do, we need more. And I want to say we need 24, something like that. So we need to mill some more lumber.
Very, very thin. Can you see it?
Yep,
Piece of a knot.
very cool.
And my injury was actually automotive related, not woodworking related.
Mm-hmm.
So my fingers still are intact, but my car tried to bite me.
Your car did bite you.
My car did bite me.
Yeah,
Correct.
but that today is just a really nice sliver from
That's
milling,
amazing. It's
from milling the lumber today.
A little
Yeah.
knot. I mean,
Yep.
look at this thing. That's awesome. Look at the thinness of it.
Yep, it's very cool.
Excellent.
Okay, we finished milling some additional pieces of board, and we have used our stop again that we've set up there to make it 9 approximately, so that all of them are consistent lengths. Some really nice blocks here for us to build. We do have one extra just in cases. And I think now it's time for assembly, right?
Yeah. We're frequently asked how effective this dust collection method is that we use here, using a 20 by 20 filter and a square fan. So I wanted to show you how much it actually captures. All of this will be all over your soap, and the final particles will actually be in your lines. So for the cost, which is very minimal, this is a very rudimentary but effective way to protect your soap and your lines. Is it perfect? No, but it is much better than not using anything. It is very inexpensive, it is very DIY friendly, and we take always the time to vacuum the soap because the fine particles of dust can make the place very slippery, so that avoids having any accident with the soap. and also it makes the shop look better. So you might have seen us that we use the vacuum quite a lot during a project, and that is the primary reason why we do it. You can see the fan on your lower left moving rather slowly in comparison with the fan on top. The fan in the lower left is our old one that has served us for almost 10 years, and it was time to retire it, but gives me ideas for more fans to distribute the heat more effectively. So because we're using scrap, this piece had a pocket hole because we were using it for something or we decided not to use it for something. But it is not going to be visible. Again, at some point it will be covered, right?
Yeah, I'll return it this way, and every part of it will be covered by the next piece.
Well, now I see why we didn't use it, because we did it wrong. The pocket hole is not supposed to go all the way through, right?
Right. So our collar probably slipped when we
Yeah.
were doing it.
So it is scrap, and you can use that as long as you are sensitive not to put it somewhere that is visible.
But when we turn it that way and we have everything stacked, you'll never notice that that was...
But now you will, because we told you.
Yeah, but otherwise nobody would ever know.
Right.
So we're gonna put glue on the end of one piece. That piece is gonna butt up against that one there. And then we're gonna do a 2-inch brad nail there just to hold it in place.
Are you out?
No, it's nearly full.
It's thick and quick, so it is a little thick. It takes a little time for it to come through.
It is a little thick and a little quick.
Yeah, thick and quick. Again, not sponsored, but we like it. It works.
We usually
hey.
use
Somebody needs to operate this
we
machinery.
usually use Tide Bond. That's our
Yeah,
to-go glue.
our go-to.
Go-to. Okay, let's lift it. I'll leave. I don't know why it only fires this way.
Yeah, so our little Ryobi is being particular about the angle, but we're still gonna get it done.
Do you want me to put two?
So again, we put glue on the end, and this is the round, as you can see, comes here.
What
Butts
round?
up. It's on a round is what it's called. So this one butts up here, and then the next one butts up against there, and we're gonna do brad nails. And we're doing two just to kind of help keep it from twisting, right?
Right. Now I'm going to put some on the end here
And on the end there.
and on the end there, and we're going to line it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, you have to turn it over. It doesn't want to fire in any other orientation but this. Not that low.
Apparently I failed to even record that, so I'm going to talk
Fantastic.
about it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
the cool things about recording. So we have the base round that we did, and now we're taking each piece and just laying that glue you probably saw, aligning it, and then putting in those brad nails. And we're using 2-inch brad nails because these are like approximately 1.5 inch squares. And we are going to do 6 rounds of that to make it a square. So this way, that way, and vertically.
It reminds me of building Legos when I was a boy.
You built Legos?
I did.
Legos?
Legos.
Yeah, a little bit. Except it doesn't have like the little popped up buttons. I was thinking more like Lincoln Logs, except we just don't have the notches, right?
Yeah.
But you can see it's coming together.
And you can see how you could make a potentially like a house or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Or a little doll house, little doll cabin.
So we're doing our last round, and again, we decided to go up 6 rounds to give it that cube sort of look. But not very many planters are going to be that tall, so what we are thinking about doing here is using some of our other scrap pieces that are not long enough for here as a riser inside to give a little bit of height to whatever plant we put down in the bottom. And also that would provide some drainage holes without rotting out like a bottom on a whole wooden planter.
And without actually making drainage holes.
Yeah. So see, this is the last one. One more piece. And this has just been a, turn it on the round, and do the next row.
Ring around the rose.
And you might want to pay attention to the visual of the side that you're going to have facing out, and then what will be on the top eventually, just to make sure that it's pleasing to you and you don't put something, you know, showing that you don't want showing.
Right. And using that stop that we put on the saw really helped us make sure that all the pieces the same. Without measuring and saying, hey, we're going for exactly 9, we just put it at a stop, and that meant that all of them were the same size, even if it wasn't exactly at 9. Which was just an arbitrary measurement that we made. This was nothing that, you know, you have to make it at 9. You could make this at whatever dimension you want. We just decided that was
So we need to make a mark and cut this.
Okay. So again, we have cut a couple of pieces that are going to go in this opening that will provide some support for a planter, but still provide drainage as well, leaving that open. And as you can see, we're putting a couple of brad nails there, and we'll flip it over and do the same. We have a second piece we're going to do so it's supported throughout that opening.
What's your finger?
We've got the second one in place. We're gonna do a couple of brad nails here. And that one will get flipped over, and you can see that it is open here. I think this looks really nice. What's next for us?
Let's put the plant in and see.
Okay. This is not the final plant for it, but this is something that we had that fits inside this slot, just to show you what it might look like.
The great mistake eraser.
That was fast.
Yep.
Okay. I think there's one inside. Are we gonna try to get it? There's one inside somewhere.
I don't see it.
One of the corners. I don't know if we can
It's
get
over
it.
here.
That's hard to get.
We might have to use just a cutter.
Yeah, I cannot.
Okay. And now that we've got those taken care of, we're gonna do a little bit of cleanup sanding. Nothing too crazy.
Just so we don't get splinters on our hands. You know, this was a little bit rough wood, so we're just going to soften it a little bit so that, you know, we don't get splinters. That feels nice.
And are we going to finish it, or we're leaving it like this?
For now, we're going to leave it natural.
Okay.
And then we'll see if we really want to jazz it up in some way. We can think about doing a finish.
Okay, cool.
Like a Suzuki band will make the ends pop out, you know?
The Suzuki band would do amazing things for this whole piece, not just the ends. But that's my opinion.
Is that the piece? That many pieces.
Yeah. To the octagonal planter we created, and we're gonna create a couple of supports just like we did in the one that we built up. And to do that, we placed our board underneath, and we've made marks so that we can cut the ends off and it will fit exactly inside there. And I think we're gonna do 2 pieces, right?
Yep.
Of that length to go in that expanse to create the supports. So next step, while our supports are drying in there with the glue, we're going to start removing the tape. Just little pieces at a time. Come back over here. There we go. And then remember, these were all of our support pieces that we put in just to kind of come back around and make sure that those...
These are state-of-the-art clamps. What are you talking about?
They are clamps.
Your typical clamp would not work on this because of the angles, so...
But they actually make clamps for that. They're
Well,
called,
they do, but we don't have that in this high-class shop of ours. At least not yet.
And they have some that have like the straps, like
Yeah.
a ratcheting strap that would do that sort of thing.
ASMR painter's tape removal.
Yes. There you go. Nice.
Tape likes to stick to itself, if you didn't know that. And the waterfall look, the continuity of the grain is just amazing.
Amazing.
So we're gonna look at that real quick. And this is something that made the cutting and planning for this planter just a little more complex than it might have been if you didn't care about this. But by doing it this way, it really levels up the look of the planter.
And we might have not cared if the piece was not so beautiful, right? I mean, if you have a very blunt piece, maybe it is not important.
But also, Mrs. DIY did select this because she liked the grain and specifically for this to have that continuity wrapping around it.
So this is our final project, and both our planters are finished, other than we haven't decided if we're going to put a finish on them yet. We might or we might not. I would like to put some finish at least on this one, maybe some shellac. Shellac will protect it from the weather, will bring the grain out, right? But you can use a lot of different things. Usually normal stain is not a good idea for outside projects because it tends to bubble. It doesn't look good very shortly, you know, and it's not very UV resistant, where shellac is UV resistant and is intended for outdoors use. But easy, difficult, beginner, mediate, advanced, what do you guys think about these projects?
I think this one is definitely a beginner one. Straight cuts, stacking, you know, simple tools. Besides the cutting down of the 2x4s that we had to do, we use a table saw for that.
But you can buy 2x2s in the store.
Yeah, you can buy 2x2s and then, you know, cut them with a handsaw or, you know, a chop saw, whatever you may have. So I definitely think this is a beginner project.
Yeah, agree.
And how about this?
This one took some planning, definitely some calculations to make sure that the angles we wanted was correct for the number of sides that we needed. So, you know, some mathematics going on there. But I think it turned out very well. The thing that I think we learned the most about this piece was making sure that the angles on the outside were always opposite from one side to the other, so that you had a long side and a short side in the inner part of this planter. So I think this one might be beginner to intermediate.
Yeah.
And while no one will see it, our waterfall is even inside.
Yep. Because it's the same piece of wood all the way around.
Right. But you can see, for example, here when there are not a lot of features, that is not very critical, right? Outside it was more critical because it had that nice grain. But if you don't care about your grain, or your grain is not really very pronounced, you don't have to do the step in which would generate those little triangle waist things, right? It would be a little faster, but it is not hard to do it this way.
If you have a piece of wood that's much more homogeneous all the way across the board, so you wouldn't know which side was which, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. You could just continue flipping your board and getting all the pieces that you wanted.
Excellent. Look at that. Look at that beauty. Oh, please. Would you do a second, or do you think that's enough?
Well, wait for it to dry first, but I think you should do the top.
There is nothing on the top to...
This.
But there is nothing to bring up.
It's the consistency of the finish.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
That really is a beautiful green. I love it.
Well, friends, this is our final product. And again, we might finish it some other way, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know yet. But if you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the other button twice. Share, like, subscribe. Let us know, do you like simple projects like that? And if you do, we're going to make more. And I'm going to start publishing the plans for free. We're not going to charge for them. From Professor DIY, Mrs. DIY, and Elpida, let's build something for spring together.